This is the technology presentation plan for the 2014-2015 school year. A brief history. Prior to the 2012-13 school year, our school district had a network infrastructure that was up, but it wasn't always reliable, it wasn't always consistent. Change was needed, so what we did is we outsourced our technology, our network technology, to a company called Higher Information Group based in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. They came in, they completely revamped our entire network, and we're very happy to say that it is very stable, supports our one-to-one initiative that we currently have in place now, and resolved a number of other issues that we had. Last year, we deployed Lenovo ThinkPad Tablet 2 devices for all students K through 8, approximately 1,030 students. And the device was a good device. It had many benefits in the classroom. Teachers were using it very well, but the failure rate of the device was way too high. We had a failure rate of around about 50%, including just the regular issues that you would typically experience. So we contacted Lenovo and renegotiated our lease, and they stood behind their name, and we have a brand new device this year, which I'll go into momentarily. The teachers received, again, K through 8 teachers received a Lenovo Twist, and those devices worked very well, so the teachers still have those devices today. Over the last 2 years, here are some of our major initiatives. We completely revamped our district website. Email has been migrated from a Gmail-based email system to an Outlook system. Software consistencies across the district is something we were struggling with before. Now everybody has Windows 8.1, with the exception of a graphic arts lab in the high school. We all have Office 2013, and Adobe shifted their licensing, the way they do licensing for school districts, and now there's Adobe Creative Cloud. It's now completely affordable for us to take advantage of many of the Adobe products. Our network, as I mentioned earlier, is very reliable now. We've entered in a printer contract with HIG to make sure that our expenditures are set level. We know what to expect. Every classroom now has either a projector or a large screen television, and again, the purpose of that is to make the learning much more engaging. Not only that, teachers and students are completely able to connect to those projectors and TVs wirelessly, so you're no longer tethered to the front of the room. It makes the learning experience much more interactive. We have a very accurate inventory, and based on that inventory, we have created a 4-year plan that is replicable out 10 years. We've also implemented a ticketing system, so when everybody or anybody needs help with anything, you're able to just put a ticket in, and then the technicians that we have are able to prioritize it and get right out and fix the issues as quickly as possible. We've certainly gone down the path of digital textbooks. I keep using the term engaging, but that's really what it's all about. Instead of having static textbooks that stay the exact same, now the textbooks, if they're digital, are completely dynamic. You can take, you can add to, you can cut, you can highlight, you can paste, you can embed video clips. All of that is now possible with what we have. And we've also, this year, purchased a brand new filter. Last year the filter was tied to the network, so when you were on the network, all the content was filtered, but if you took the device home and you were off the network, your device was no longer being filtered. We purchased the Content Keeper as our filter, and now the filter is tied to the device rather than the network. So any device that's in our district, whether it's in our district or outside of our district now, will always have a filter tied to it. The big plan here is to make sure that we follow our vision statement. Our mission statement here is actually listed in blue. To enable students to strive for success in an ever-changing global society. The world that our students are going into is very different than the world that we have entered, and it's going to continue to change. So we want to make sure that we provide teachers and students with technology devices and electronic curriculum to enhance instruction, engagement, and improve student learning. We want to make sure we provide teachers with professional development to help facilitate this transition. And we want to discover how to best leverage the resources available collaboratively to maximize student learning. Some of the specifics that we now have in place moving forward: every student in our district, whether they're in kindergarten through 12th grade, all will be receiving a Lenovo Yoga 11E. And all the teachers in K through 8, they're going to keep going with their Twist because they've been very successful devices. And then at the high school, grades 9 through 12, the teachers are going to have a Lenovo Yoga S100. All students and teachers will be able to project wirelessly. In addition to all of the benefits that we've discussed, and many more that we have not, the focus that we have as a district is to make sure that our curriculum is more engaging. We now want to make sure we can do an item analysis so we're able to drill down to the specific needs of every student, which truly is individualizing the instruction for all. We took some time to write down our vision, to write down our goals. Of course, our mission statement leading the way. This is all accessible through the technology page. I have the web address right here on the screen. Of course, if you just go to bhasd.org, you can go through the departments and go to the technology department and find all of this stuff. But the important stuff to take away here is that we're in a process here of still learning how to best leverage what it is that we have. So the teachers that have experienced Windows 8 before, so our K through 8 teachers, we're going to ask that they continue to hone their skills. And we don't want them working in silos. We're partnering them up with the high school who this is their first year coming on with Windows 8. We don't want them to have to go through any of the exact same growing pains that we've gone through before. Mistakes are part of learning, and we just want to make sure that we don't continue to make the same ones. For students, we have the expectation of them that they're going to take care of their device, bring it to school charged, but we also expect them to start trying to develop some of their own personal proficiencies within technology and try to find out how to leverage the resources that they have to maximize their own lives. I want to spend a couple of minutes to go through the different forms that we have to go through to just again make sure that we're on the exact same page so there's no ambiguity. So I'm just going to start right here with the general permission form. Some things that we just want to make sure that we're clear about. I want to make sure everybody understands that the device that the students have, the Lenovo Yoga 11E, that is issued by Brandywine, but it's still owned by us. It is a resource that we're allowing students to use similar to a textbook. We want to make sure that parents and guardians understand that they're responsible for monitoring the internet and the device when they're off or outside of the school district. We do have a filter put in place now that's pretty robust, but even the best filter in the world is never going to catch everything. So it's important to understand how to be vigilant about that. We have to work collaboratively, students, parents, and staff, to make sure that we're taking responsibility and we're taking care for the equipment that we have within the district. There's information I'm going to go over momentarily about a technology fee, but I want to make sure that we lay out exactly what the technology fee is, what it covers, what it doesn't cover, and understand the consequences of any malicious destruction of technology. It is the student's responsibility to bring their device to school every day and make sure that it's charged. Now, there's an asterisk there because it's important to realize that students in kindergarten through third grade, the elementary building, they're not going to be taking their device home. This would purely start in the intermediate school, fourth grade on. The Brandywine Heights Area School District has the right to monitor all district-owned devices. While we try not to invade privacy, there should be no expectation of privacy for files stored on the district-issued devices or cloud. Students, by nature, want to help one another, but if one student does not have their device, did not bring it to school, it is important that we get in the practice of not loaning their device to another student or borrowing it from another student. We have loaner devices in place in every single building, and we have a system in place that will make sure that students will have everything that they need. It's important to take precautions to keep usernames and passwords private. Everything's tied to student names, so if one student signs onto a computer and they do something that they shouldn't be doing on the computer, it's tied to that student's name, which again goes into the importance of making sure that we're not loaning or borrowing devices out. every year there are updates. That's the nature of technology. We want to make sure that we are able to provide students and staff with all of the updates necessary, but we don't want to do this throughout the year, every 2 weeks, take devices back, hand them out. There's no way we could possibly do that. So what we are going to do is we service them annually. Over the summer, we'll collect them at the end of the year, provide all the updates that we need to, and then have them ready to go for the beginning of the next school year. The Acceptable Use Policy Agreement form is important for us to review for the specifics of what can you do and what can't you do with these devices. Where are you allowed to visit on the internet? Where are you not allowed to visit? So the purpose of the technology is to maximize the instructional process. With that being said, a lot of resources are out there that we don't want students to be accessing. Again, we have filters in place that should be blocking a lot of that, but the acceptable use policy really drills down into the specifics of what you should and what you should not be doing. So to just read through a number of these to be explicit, again, this list is not designed to be exhaustive. There are many things that may not be listed here, but this should give you a general idea as far as what's allowed and what's not. So just to be clear, the use of the network or device to facilitate illegal activity is prohibited. The use of the network for commercial or for-profit purposes, prohibited. Use of the network for product advertisement or political lobbying. The use of the network or device for hate mail, discriminatory remarks, terroristic threats, and offensive or inflammatory communication. Unauthorized or illegal installation, modification, distribution, reproduction, or use of copyrighted materials. Use of the network or device to access obscene or pornographic material. Accessing material that is harmful to minors or is determined inappropriate or inconsistent with the instructional process or purposes and mission of the district. Use of inappropriate language or profanity on the network or device. Use of the network or device to transmit material likely to be offensive or objectionable to recipients. Use of the network or device to intentionally obtain or modify files, passwords, and data belonging to other users. Impersonation of another user, or anonymity or use of pseudonyms. Installation of content which is known to be unauthorized or prohibited by the district. Use of the network or device to disrupt the work of other users. Destruction, modification, abuse, or unauthorized access to network hardware, software, and data by physical or electronic means. Specifically, we're talking about viruses, worms, etc. Bullying, cyberbullying, strictly prohibited. Quoting personal communications in a public forum without the original author's prior consent is prohibited. Circumventing or disabling the filter or any security measure is strictly prohibited. Engaging in the practice of hacking, obviously, is prohibited. This is a simplified version of the full acceptable use policy. If you're interested in seeing the policy in its entirety, please check out the website that's on the page. Again, you'd go to bhasd.org and then school board policies. This is policy 815. To access apps from the Windows Store, students need to have a Microsoft account. If students are under the age of 13, it's required by law. As a district, we're requiring this for all students just to be safe and just to make sure that we are all on the same page. Once the Microsoft accounts have been created, students will only have the ability to download free apps. For more information about Microsoft accounts, there's a web address on the page, and by you granting us permission to create these Microsoft accounts, strictly we're just taking the burden off of you to make sure that you don't have to go through all the steps to create these accounts. And our teachers are very excited about many of the apps that are in the Windows Store, the app store that they have available. There are so many free apps that are beneficial. We're excited to explore, but we need to make sure that we do this as a partnership. We don't want to grant your child access to something that you don't want them to have access to. So that's going to be another part of permission that we need from you. This is the optional technology fee. Every year we are self-insuring the devices that we have. We look through going with some type of formal insurance plan. but it ended up being significantly more expensive than going with a self-insured model. We've done some calculations and we have done some best guessing, and last year we had a $10 technology fee. Obviously, we had an abnormal amount of failures with the device, but to be safe and based on feedback from other school districts, we're going to try a $20 technology fee per student this year. Again, this is an optional fee, but it's something that I would suggest or advise that you take advantage of if able. The $20 will cover up to 3 accidents for a student's tenure here at Brandywine Heights. Again, it covers accidents. If there's theft, if there's fire, if someone drops it, if it just falls on the floor, those are accidents, and accidents happen. We want to make sure that parents aren't unnecessarily burdened with some unexpected expenditures that are really going to set you back. So with this technology fee, if there's an accident, essentially all of the fee gets pooled together in a big savings account, and then as accidents happen, that's where the money comes from to fix them. Again, it covers up to 3, so that 4th accident would not be able to be covered. If, let's say, the device gets dropped and accidentally run over by a car or something horrible where there's no repairs that can be done, the device just has to be replaced, I want to make sure that I list the MSRP. That's not necessarily what I can get the device for. What's listed there is $799 for the device. That's what it would go for at retail. Realistically, I might be able to get it for around $600, but that's a guess because those prices are changing all the time. Obviously, I would get it at the cheapest rate possible, and we're not looking to make money off of this. We would just communicate that information with you. The technology fee does not cover damage that is determined to be the result of malicious use or treatment. So if someone purposefully goes out and smashes their device, hits it repeatedly with a hammer, something deliberate, then that is certainly not covered by the technology fee, nor is the outright loss of a device. So those are the 2 things that are not covered by the fee. The question always is, well, how do you determine if it's an accident or if it's malicious? To be honest, it's a difficult decision, and there has to be a full investigation that goes into it. People have to be interviewed, questions have to be asked, but then by the end, usually we can have a pretty clear idea as what happened. If there's any question, if we truly are not sure, we will always err on the side of it being an accident. Last year, however, there were 2 situations where we had malicious destruction, and it was very clear, and the students even admitted to that, but I want to make sure that I'm clear about the fact that that is not covered by the technology fee. Payment, if you want to take advantage of the technology fee, we want to keep this, again, as simple as possible, so we're asking for a check. Cash sometimes gets lost. Checks can be voided out if needed, so that's why we're asking for a check. We're currently in the process of investigating online payments, and that's something that, based on feedback from parents, if that's something you're interested in, we're looking to have that ready for next school year if, again, that's something that you're interested in. The reporting procedure, the most important thing to know is if a student is having an issue with the device, if something went wrong, if there was an accident, all a student needs to do is just let a teacher know. Teachers know to put tech tickets in, our technicians will come around. If it's an accident, they take care of it. If it's something they're not sure about, they'll either get my attention or talk to a building principal, and we'll take it from there. But for students, it's very simple. Just if something's wrong, let a teacher know. If there's an accident, or if someone lost something, or if something was destroyed maliciously, we put a form together that you will receive. And this is exactly what the form will look like. Right here it's broken down into 3 sections. These are accidents, and the technology fee can cover this. It's really up to you whether or not you want it to, and I'll explain that in a second. If it was lost, if the device was lost, or the charger was lost, that is not covered by the technology fee, so you would have to pay for that. Or if something was maliciously destroyed, again, the technology fee does not cover that. Payment would be required, and there might be some discipline consequences. So this form would be filled out, and then on the back here, if you take advantage of the technology fee, you can complete this back part. And basically what this is asking is, if you took advantage of the fee and it's an accident, it's your choice whether or not you want to use one of your three, for simplicity's sake, let's call them strikes, one of your three strikes. So before, the charger port that we had, the charger cord that we had last year was a simple USB mini, and we could get those for around $4 or $5. So it made sense last year for some parents to opt out of having it count as a strike and just pay the $5, saving those three strikes in case their son or daughter would drop the tablet and the screen would break, which would have been a much more costly repair. The chargers for the devices that we have this year are listed at $60, $59.99. So that's a significant amount of money. So whether or not you use the technology fee to cover that, that's going to be your decision. You just have to notify us and let us know, yes, I would like to pay for this part and preserve the strikes, or I would like the technology fee to cover this, and it will count as one of my three strikes. So the form simply gets filled out and sent back. If you want to pay for something, please make sure that there's a check that accompanies it, and that's pretty much the process. Next steps. So there are a bunch of forms that I have just reviewed with you. To try to simplify the process, instead of having you fill out each form, we put together just a signature sheet. So there again is a hyperlink that will take you to all of the forms that I've just presented, and it has a place for the student's first, last name, student's grade, and homeroom, and then go through either you saw this presentation live or you watched it now, and you would check that off. Then you understand the permission form, you understand the acceptable use policy, you understand and take advantage or will not take advantage of the tech fee. Let us know what you choose. And as far as the Microsoft account permissions, do you give us permission to create those accounts, allowing students to access the Microsoft Store so we can download so many of those great free educational apps, or not? This is where you would print your first name and last name, signature, date. This is the form that we need to have back before we deploy devices to your son or daughter. And the second bullet over here says they'll be disseminated shortly, again pending this form coming back. And I know many of the building principals were talking about holding the devices in the school for maybe a week, 2, 3, to make sure that students fully grasp everything that's expected of them with these devices before sending it home. So my last comment here is just thank you for your continued support as we do everything that we possibly can to best prepare our students for their future. Questions, comments, we always welcome feedback. My name's Tom Volker. If you want to send me an email address, all my information is on our district website. Please provide us with feedback. We're certainly in this together and value all you have to say.